The giant robots come out to play, and it's oh so glorious. Okay, it's time to do this review and summarize it in one word. Chaos. This was a chaotic episode of Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory. This was also a really great episode, but it was not without its flaws. Basically, this entire episode was Sosuke and Kaname trying to run away from these robot men, which are called Alisters, in a very thrilling chase sequence while trying to meet up with a chopper at a landing zone, only for it to get destroyed, but of course to deploy the AS mecha unit, the Arbalest, which is the personal weapon of Sosuke. It's definitely one of the biggest characteristics of the entire series. It appears in this episode, and it just absolutely ices everyone, and it's a thing of beauty. This entire episode is just watching Sosuke just destroy people, and Kaname get completely freaked out about it. You can tell that after learning that he's killed so many people that it's had a massive effect on her, and throughout the entire episode you can see she's getting a little more distant from Sosuke as things goes on, and realizes all the violent things that he actually does. In a way, she's been subtly brainwashed by Leonard Testarossa, but still, it's very thrilling stuff. But there are some things I don't particularly care about it, but I'll talk about that in the rundown. The other big part about this episode, which I think was maybe my favorite scene of the entire freaking new season thus far, was Tessa just completely putting this soldier in line. We get to see that the Meridia base is just about to get rocked by missiles of all shapes and sizes, and maybe even some that have nuclear capability, and there have already been some casualties. A lot of things have been destroyed. They're going to have to deploy all their AS units, and there's this one soldier by the name of Spec, who is sort of just like a mercenary for the group, and he doesn't necessarily want to risk his life and do anything, and he even considers performing a coup d'etat on Tessa and sort of like taking over so that they can actually make an escape. But Tessa is overhearing all of this, and in a very uncharacteristic move, she doesn't actually talk him to death. She puts a gun right in his face and points it in his general direction, fires it off, and lets her know that she's not here to shed tears or to be the cute little girl that we all think she is. She's going to be the leader, she's going to make hard decisions, and if you're going to go against them, she's going to blow your freaking head off. It was a fantastic moment for Tessa and made me just fall in love with her all over again. She's always been one of my fan favorites from the series, but this just demonstrated why. Despite her incredibly frail and super cute appearance, she is not afraid to be the leader, and I love that she is standing upright here. It's a great moment, and it actually manages to rally these soldiers together, and they are going to need their strength, because this base is about to be rocked not only by missiles, but by a behemoth. And unlike the first season where we just saw one, this time we're going to see 3 of them, and they are freaking awesome. The way they make them look in this series with the CG, honestly, it's, I think, great. I think the CG works really good for the mecha. It doesn't work in some other areas of the series, but that's a discussion for a little later. But man, they just look so imposing and gigantic. It looks like something that 2B and 9S would fight in Nier Automata. It's just great. Really, this entire episode was just chaos from beginning to end, running from the bad guys, and possibly even getting captured by the end. What's going to happen to Kaname and Sosuke? How are they going to survive this massive attack? Will they be able to bring them down? And will some of these major characters actually end up getting axed in the process? Let's just get excited, guys. So what's the rundown on this episode of Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory? Loved this episode, but I do have some problems with it. I want to go ahead and address the elephant in the room. The car chase sequence at the beginning of the episode, when Sosuke and Kaname are trying to run away from all of these giant AS units and the Alisters, and it's really exciting. Kind of reminds me of something that I saw from like Terminator 2 with the T-1000 clinging onto the car and them swerving around and trying to throw them off. It all looks pretty good, aside from the fact that whenever there is total movement and you just see it from the outside of the vehicle, it looks kind of bad. I don't know what it is. I think it's actually the backgrounds. They look really undetailed and very artificial and plasticky, but when they finally slow things down and they get out of the car, everything looks a lot more detailed. So while that sequence is incredibly thrilling and breakneck, and honestly I really did get a lot of enjoyment out of it, it really took me out of the experience with just how sort of early 2000s video gamey that it actually kind of looked. I think that the CG works really great on just the mecha themselves. I don't know why it works for them, but it looks really cool, and maybe they also look better in darker lighting. The behemoths looked really fantastic, and even the arbalest in this episode looked all sorts of cool. Just way cooler than we've actually ever seen it in the entire series. But, man, I don't know what it is about that car sequence, but it just kind of turned me off a little bit, despite the fact that, yes, it was very thrilling and well choreographed. It was exactly what I was hoping to see, especially the way the last episode ended with such an amazing cliffhanger, as does this episode right here, which is going to hit you directly in the gut and get you really excited for more of this series. Really, this was everything a Full Metal Panic fan could have possibly asked for. Outside of some weird animation choices with CG, this was a great action-packed, chaotic episode, which was surprisingly violent, filled with some really big explosive moments, and Tessa's big speech at the end with that other soldier was just a thing of beauty. I really loved it. So I wish I could talk a little bit more, guys, but I am pressed for time, so that's why this review is going to be a little short. But I am going to give this episode right here a solid, get ready for it, 4 out of 5. Check it out, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the episode. If you did watch it, tell me in the comment section below. And, of course, what you hope to see from the rest of Full Metal Panic: Invisible Victory. Also, let me just briefly touch upon the opening, which is in this episode. It's awesome. It just works. There's a few new characters, I think, that are going to be introduced in this series, according to the intro. Either that or Konami just decides to dye her hair orange. I don't know. Maybe that's them in actually disguise. We get a lot of great shots of all the different mecha which are going to be appearing in the show, and they all just look so cool. Sosuke piloting them looks really fantastic. It's just a great showcase that captures the energy, the spirit, and the feel of Full Metal Panic. It's just as good as the other previous intros, maybe even the best that I've seen from the entire series. The hype is still pretty high for the rest of this show, and I can't wait to see how it's going to live up to the classic seasons from before. What I will say is, so far, it's doing a pretty good job. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the episode. Love to hear yours, and thank you guys again for watching this review. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay down, baby.